What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Regrowth. Oh yeah, guys. So, after last episode, after messing around with the Mekanism generators and the biofuels and making the gases and all of that stuff, I've decided today I want to start upgrading our farms over here. Yeah, I want to get rid of the steam boilers. I want to stop doing coal. We kind of discovered that the biofuel can be made out of like pumpkin seeds, right? So if we take a pumpkin, we harvest pumpkins. We get 4 pumpkins. Each pumpkin can turn into 4 seeds. Each seed turns into 2 biofuel. So it's like per harvest, we get what? Like 4 pumpkins. So 16 seeds, 32 biofuel per harvest. That's crazy. That's a lot, right? So we could just run everything off biogenerators. We could also upgrade them to the ethanol or whatever, I think is what we saw. And then the gas burning generator can do that kind of stuff. I don't know if we want to do that or not. Those particles, like if I go into here, like I guess this thing renders. So it renders these particles on my screen. It's kind of weird. Anyway, so I think that's probably what we're going to do. I want to kind of get off the charcoal action. We are still using this auto assembler, which I forgot about, which all of our stuff is going through until we get 8 of the essence of coal, and then it makes a coal, and that goes through here. Yeah, everything's running through there. This is like such a crazy setup that we have. We've had applied energistics now for a little while. I think it's time we should upgrade all of our stuff. So we're probably going to get rid of the charcoal. I'm probably going to make a bigger wall for all of our different things. Kind of what I'm thinking right now. I was going through all the different plants that we could have planted here and what we should be looking at. So if we have earth, fire, and creeper seeds, all of those planted, that'll be able to make the fertilizer. The fertilizer is what we need to keep these farms running, right? So they require fertilizer. Yeah, I logged in today and we were out of fertilizer, and all the plant stuff up here was not harvested. It was all fully grown. So we must have been out for a little while and I never noticed. We don't have any auto crafting online. So I kind of want to get auto crafting set up so we can collect the earth, fire, and creeper. The creeper will be turned into the gunpowder, right? And then we crush the gunpowder to get saltpeter. And saltpeter mixed with sand and dirt gives us the fertilizer, is how that all works. Anyway, so we need those 3 specific items. Then we're also going to need the pumpkins. Yeah, for our biofuel. That'll keep us running, which is pretty awesome. So that's 4 different plants that we need running here. Also, the pumpkins will make compost. That's another thing we've been needing to do. Yeah, I've been looking over here and I've been like, you know, we should hook up these other farms. And I go to do it and it's like, oh, wait, we can't because we don't have this garden soil. And pretty much everything from Autocrafting in this mod pack requires it to be planted on the garden soil, right? So yeah, we need compost to mix with dirt to make the tilled garden soil, I guess the garden soil, so we can plant other stuff and get things auto harvested on it. So yeah, we have like pretty much everything we need. So we need 4 different plants planted here. We already have the pumpkins. We already have the creeper. So yeah, we need earth and fire. And then we have everything we need. Then we can get rid of all the coal that's in like these 4 different corners here. Get rid of all the coal and we'll have like all this space available for whatever else that we're going to have here on our main farm. But yeah, I think that's what we're going to do today. So let's get started on that. So we need to get rid of the cotton, get rid of whatever the other one is over here. The lapis. Yeah, we don't need lapis going. We'll replace that with earth and fire. We'll get rid of the coal. We'll leave the steam boiler running off the current stockpile of coal that we have. Then we'll look at trying to get something set up for turning pumpkins into biofuel and that biofuel into power. You know, even for a basic smelting factory, this is pretty awesome. These things are so good. I like it. So anyway, I'm cooking up a lot of gold right now because we're going to be doing a little bit of auto crafting. We need to set that up. And in order to do auto crafting, we have to have gold to make the golden processors. Well, we have to make the electron tubes really to make the golden electron. Either way, we need gold. So I got our farm over here set up, right? So we're doing creeper, we're doing pumpkin, we're doing fire, we're doing earth, and then we're running low on gold. So I filled out this little section over here, this corner section. I think there is 27. It's either 27 or 36. It's like, it's divisible by 9 things of gold. I think it's 36 plots for gold is what that is. So anyway, we got that going on over here so we can collect some gold. And we got a little bit here. When you do 8 of those, you get 5 ores per. So that's pretty awesome. We'll have a decent amount of gold very quickly. Yeah, I saw we had 88 here. Just wasn't enough. So anyway, we got almost 200 gold now. We're collecting more as we go. I have moved the storage drawers over here to this wall. I think I mentioned that I wanted to do that before. So I have taken everything out of the old storage drawers and I made a bunch of spruce ones so it all looks the same. It's not just oak and jungle wood next to each other. Kind of a weird looking thing. Yeah, this is how it's going to be. I saw we had some nature essence up here. We only had 30 of them. So I didn't put any real upgrades into this drawer. There's just a void upgrade there. But anyway, this should be all set up the way it was before so we could collect all these different resources. They'll go to the storage drawers. If we have too many, they'll just be deleted, right? Cool. I also put our the compacting drawer with all of our coal right here just because we're still using coal for our main power supply. And then our steam boiler over here, which has been powering these farms, this is still being ran off coal. But I just put some coal blocks into this chest, into this hopper, which goes into here for now. I think eventually what we're going to do is tear this all down. We will be moving over to the biofuel. But yeah, we still got more work to go. So I also tore down all the auto crafting things we had over here. And then I just put a import bus on the bottom of this farm that's collecting all of our different resources. So that's getting sucked directly into the ME system, which is going over here to these drawers pretty much. So the next few steps that we need to do is we need to start getting the auto crafting online. Yeah, so that's why we need the gold so I can start making those processors and all of this stuff. The processors in this particular mod pack are a little crazy. We've kind of looked at these before. You need the golden chipsets and you also need the golden electron tubes in order to make the applied energistics processors. We have 27 gold chipsets right here, which is awesome. We don't have any golden electron tubes, but yeah, like I said, we are now collecting the earth and the fire so we can make sand. So we can go ahead and do this. We probably have some sand in here anyway, but I'll just make a stack. So sand can go into thermionic fabricator, or you can put glass in here. Either way, and you got to set a valid recipe, and then this thing will turn on. So we need to get ourselves gold. I'm not sure how much we have. I guess we'll do 2.5 stacks of gold, which means we'd only need half a stack of sand to make this recipe work, and then 1 stack of redstone. Okay, so we can do this. So the redstone's already set in the right spot. I'll just put the gold in here. Okay, so that's a valid recipe. This is going to heat up to this point. As soon as that happens, it'll melt the sand into glass, and then we'll start being able to make our electron tubes. I think what we're going to do, let's grab a logistical transporter, and we'll grab a configurator. And then I guess just some kind of a chest. Doesn't matter. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we're just going to put the logistical transporter here, and we are going to set this thing to extract. So when this thing heats up and we're able to make those tubes, it'll just start crafting all of these tubes. Yeah, and then it's just going to eject them. So the inventory should go away. Like as soon as that heats up, I think that, yeah, there we go. Now we're making all the tubes. It's too bad that doesn't go faster. I guess if we had the higher tier of the logistical transporters, it would. But yeah, just pulling it out one at a time, so I don't have to worry about this. So the next thing I do have to worry about, though, is getting our inscriber hooked up so we can kind of do a little bit of automation here. We really don't have a proper spot for all of this stuff yet still. So anyway, we're going to go ahead, put this here. Can I use the configurator as a wrench? I don't know. I don't think I've ever done that. It doesn't look like it. Okay, so we need to grab like our build craft. Wrench. Okay, yeah, we just search for wrench, not search for build craft. Okay, we can turn this guy on its side. We need to get our logic. If I can put my fingers on the right keys before typing. Logic goes here, and then we can just, I guess hoppers are fine until we get like a proper automation thing going. So yeah, all I'd have to do is one of those, grab a stack out of here, and put a stack into there. Of course, we're going to want our acceleration cars because this thing goes slow otherwise. And there we go. Okay, so we'll make a stack of these guys. I'll have to do the same thing with the silicon, and then I'll probably just set up a hopper system or whatever to combine all three of the other parts into the processors, and then we'll have a bunch of these printed logic circuits, which is going to be pretty awesome. This place is definitely getting messy. We're going to have to figure out where we're going to put all of our machines. Another thing I also did is I put these staircases all the way down to the bottom. Previously, we had like that platform that was kind of floating there, which was weird. And that's how we got down to the staircase to the basement where our steam boiler is. I decided I got tired of that, so I did put in a staircase here. We have access to all of our crazy ME spider web cables right there. And then the access point is still over here for the stairs that goes down to the steam boiler down there. Should we choose to go down there anymore? I think what we're going to end up doing, though, is using the biofuel, like I said, and I think we're going to set up all of our power production underneath our farms over there, because we need a lot of power to run those farms, and then all the other power we can send over here to run like our applied energistics and all of this stuff. So to me, that makes sense. So I think that's probably what we're going to end up doing. Yeah, it looks like we went ahead and all of that has been completed. Cool. So we got another stack of these processors here. I'll probably do another stack through here. We'll get our silicon going. Anyway, I'm going to make some more progress. Hopefully we can look at getting this Autocrafting online here pretty quick. All right, guys. So dealing with the fact of Autocrafting, we're going to need, I don't know how many different Autocrafts for all the different things we're going to be doing, but let's think, you know, a decent size to start with. So I just made myself a stack of these dense Fluix cables. Yeah, I just made a full stack of those. Anyway, so we got this cable running down. This will give us 32 channels. So a pretty good way that we can get the maximum amount of Autocrafting off one of these things is by putting 4 of these interfaces around the cable like so. And then we can put the molecular assemblers around this like so. Cool. Then all we got to do is alternate this pattern. So next we'd have the molecular assemblers on top of these interfaces. Yep. And then we got to put the interfaces on the corners like so. So we can do this 8 layers tall, and that will use up all 32 channels. There should be 8 channels being used right now. If this was connected, why is that not showing there's any channels being used? I don't know. Why? I mean, we got power down here, right? Maybe it's just taking a minute for this thing to update. But anyway, we should have a total of 8 channels being used. Yeah, there we go. 8 out of 32. Yeah, I guess applied energistics too, like only checks for devices being added like every 15 seconds or something like that. But anyway, yeah, so we could do this 4 layers taller. I don't think we're going to have room down here to do all of that. We might have to lower it in the floor or something. But anyway, this is going to give us quite a few spots for the different patterns for Autocrafting, which is what we're looking for. The next thing that we need to do is make ourselves a pattern terminal, so we don't have to go down there and find an interface to put patterns into every single time. You know what? I don't think we have a crafting terminal. We might have some of these other things ready. I guess we don't. Do we have any of this? Yeah, okay, so we can make an ME terminal. We have to turn that into a crafting terminal. I don't think we have the calculation processor, so we're going to need a lot of the quartz stuff. So quartz, chipset, quartz, electron, and then silicon. And we can just go ahead, come over to our handy dandy thing. Oh yeah, I had this thing set up because I was Autocrafting the others. So the chipset goes here. Oh, you know what? Okay, this isn't going to work. We need to take all this stuff out. Take all this out because we have to press the electron tube, right? All right, so we need to go get ourselves the calculation. This little fella, calculation go here, and that goes there. Do his thing. Cool. All right, so we got that. So now we can take this guy, that, and one of these, and that'll make our calculation processor. Yeah, this whole thing is so messy right now. I really want to get this cleaned up ASAP. All right, so we have that. We make this now. Cool. There's an ME crafting terminal, and we don't have a diamond processor. We have the diamond electron tubes. Okay, we have this. So we're also going to need, what is an engineering press? Okay, so we just got to grab the engineering press, do the same exact thing. I'm not sure if we have a diamond chipset. We should look. Yeah, we have 49. Okay, so I've already pre-made a few of those. Okay, so there's this guy. Get that out of there. That, one of these. And there we go. There's our engineering press. Or, I'm sorry, engineering processor. So we can do that. And there's our ME pattern terminal crafting maestro. Yeah, this is the terminal where we can actually make our crafting patterns, right? So we're also going to want an interface terminal. So what is the recipe for that? Is this thing crazy? Oh, it's another one of those, plus one of these, plus one of those. I don't know if we have, is it a bright illuminated panel we need? I think it might be. No, it looks like any of these panels. Anyway, we can just grab one of those. Interfaces I've had to make a bunch of so far. So what's one more, right? And okay, and then we just need one more diamond processor. Well, anyway, let me go ahead and make that up real quick. Diamond processor. I think we need the diamond in this. Right. Okay, so we can put engineering plus one of those. And then we will do one of those, one of those, one of those. There's our processor. Cool. And then we can get ourselves the interface terminal. Nice. Okay, so now that we have the interface terminal, all the interfaces on our network should show up here. The molecular assemblers are the ones we care about. I guess we don't have any other interfaces on the network. So when we make patterns, we stick it in here, and the system will know how to autocraft those things using the molecular assemblers down below. All right, let's get rid of some of this stuff out of my inventory right now. So things that we want to autocraft, for instance, would be like sand, just basic things. So we want to autocraft. Oh, you know what? We have to make the blink patterns first. Okay, let's make some blink patterns real quick. I'll make one of those, and the very first pattern we're going to make is a pattern to make more blink patterns. Okay, so we have that done. We'll stick this right here so we can tell the system to make some blink patterns. Do we have enough for 10? No crafting CPUs are available. Okay, so this is the next thing that we're going to have to work on. So we need to make a crafting coprocessor. So this is like our CPU, right? So we have to make a crafting unit, which is calculation processors and logic and all of this stuff, which is fine. Then we have to, once we have the crafting unit, we have to mix that with an engineering processor, and then we'll have a crafting coprocessor, and then we should have a processor available. Not only that, we're also going to have to do crafting storage. And we'll probably make, I don't know, like a 4K one, which is like you're making the 4K discs, right? And you just mix it with that same kind of thing, another crafting unit. So we have to make at least 2 of these for the most basic auto crafting, but we're going to want more. So I think what we're going to do is start small. We'll just have like one thing being auto crafted at a time, and we'll use that to auto craft all the other things that we need. So anyway, let me go ahead and get onto that, and we'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, well I've been making a lot of crafting patterns and getting things hooked up over there at the applied energistics area, but I was thinking we should take just a quick break, just see how we're doing over here. 15 combs. I've already taken some of these combs out and I've processed them. So we're gonna have some silky propolis in here. Yeah, we got 29 more. We have 5 of the propolis from when I've processed some of the silky propolis. So we can go ahead and put this in the hopper to be processed next. So we're still making our way. I think we needed like 3 1/3 stacks of the silk wisps to do what we need to do to get our armor. So we'll just let that continue doing what it's doing. So anyway, like I said, I've been making a lot of the crafting patterns. We do have the auto crafting hooked up online. I made a 16K crafting storage and 1 coprocessor. And you can see over on this interface terminal, I swapped these. I want the interface terminal on this side. You can see over here, I've made a bunch of patterns so far. So a lot of the applied energistics patterns we have up here on the top, some vanilla crafting recipes here on this line, some of the ones where you take the magical crops and turn into vanilla items on this line, and finally one down here to make the forestry fertilizer. So down here, show you the setup. It's very, very basic. I just added in the 16K crafting storage and a crafting coprocessor unit. They're both touching. It makes like a little multi-block structure. And they're just touching that same cable that we have our auto crafts on. I don't know. You can kind of poke around at these interfaces and see where your crafting patterns went to. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, because most of these interfaces are touching at least 2. I think actually all of them are touching 3, right? 3 molecular assemblers. So it should be able to pump in a lot of items into all of these guys at any point in time and be able to craft. We do need to put the acceleration cards in there so they can craft faster, but for right now, it's doing what we need to do, which is pretty awesome. Okay, oh, I guess one more thing that I did. Let's show you guys this while we're down here, while we're over here. The line, this is the, whoop, get up here. The line that goes all the way over to our south island over there where our farms are. Yeah, I added in a dense cable here with a P2P tunnel. And that goes into the same line. Well, I guess that's just connected to the main network anyway, right? But we are going to be using this P2P tunnel all the way over there so we have more channels so we can do more things. We're going to set up some auto crafting over there. One of the things we need to auto craft is we need to auto craft creeper dust. I guess the gunpowder, whatever. We need to crush that into saltpeter. The saltpeter mixed with the sand and the dirt is going to make the fertilizer, and that'll keep these farms going, right? The other thing we needed to do is we need to be able to crush, I guess, pretty much like pumpkin seeds into the biofuel. That's going to keep everything else happy. Isn't that? Wait, hold on a second. Biofuel. Maybe I was looking at the wrong thing. No, we crush pretty much everything, right, to make the biofuel. Yeah, you crush pumpkin seeds to get biofuel this way. So I'll have to make a crafting pattern. Actually, let's go do that real quick. I have to make a crafting pattern to turn pumpkins into seeds, and then we can export those seeds through an export bus with a crafting card, and then it should be able to like do the crafting as it's exporting. So that'll be something we're going to want to do. So let's make a pattern for that. So we'll just grab a pumpkin. Actually, let's do this. Clear that out. Pumpkin, go here. So pumpkin makes 4 seeds. Let's make a crafting. Whoop. Crafting. Or, I'm sorry, blank pattern for crafting. We'll do like 10 more. Can we do that? We can. Awesome. So we have patterns in there for like quartz glass and all that stuff. Slowly but surely, we're going to get automated for everything. So there's another vanilla item. I guess we'll just stick that right there. That should be fine. Okay. So now we can make gunpowder. We can make pumpkin seeds, all those things we want to do. We're going to hook that up into a crusher, and that crusher is going to make all the different items that we need. And that'll also be a part of our storage down here. Get down here. So I'm not sure how these work. Like, this is not a factory. This is just the basic one. But it looked like we can set up, I think, different sides for different slots on this. I'm not sure how that all is going to work, but what we want to do is be able to put enough in this machine so we can output the result like over there. Maybe maybe we'll do like an interface or something on this machine for the crafting pattern. And then as we export, it'll just craft it immediately. Instead of having this machine completely full of stuff exporting to like a drawer or something, maybe we'll just craft it, you know, as it's needed. I think that might be what we end up doing. Probably the same thing for the biofuel. We'll probably put an export bus on whatever the machine is that burns the biofuel. Yeah, I think that's probably what we're going to do. So I guess the next things we should start looking at is getting those machines over here. I don't even remember what it was from Mekanism. What machines it was. I guess biogenerator is a machine that we're going to want. We had 4 more of these things, so let's grab those. Okay, so we have a lot of these biogenerators, right? We're going to need an export bus. I think we should be able to autocraft that. Yeah, okay, so we can do this. We're going to want a crafting cart, and I think we weren't able to autocraft this because we're missing calculation processors. So what we need to do, like I said, is put an export bus, or I guess an interface might be what we're going to want to do. We'll put an export bus with a crafting card over here. So each one of these machines, instead of just exporting from the system, we can set a thing when we have a crafting card in here that'll say export from system or craft. So it'll export everything from the system, and then when it runs out, eventually it'll start crafting it and doing it on demand. So then it'll craft the sand and the dirt in the system, and then it'll crush a little bit of the gunpowder into niter, or I guess saltpeter in this pack. Yep. And then it'll be able to get the fertilizer once it gets that back into the system, auto crafts with it. So I think that's probably how we're going to do it. Anyway, let me get a few more things going here. I'll try and get more of these processors made. We keep running out. I keep trying to make more. Yeah, it's just kind of a big, long process. Let me go ahead and get some more stuff done. We'll be back, guys. All right, guys. So we have a interface here on top of a crusher. Yep, that's just our basic one like we had before. I have a P2P RF. This is connected to the power that's being made over in the base just for simplicity. Yeah, so that's providing this thing with power for right now. Yeah, this thing has a crafting pattern in it where 1 pumpkin seed turns into 2 biofuel. And we have a crafting pattern back in our main pattern area that turns 1 pumpkin into the 4 pumpkin seeds, right? So all we have to do is tell the crafting system to craft biofuel, and then it auto crafts the pumpkins into seeds, and it puts the seeds in here to get the biofuel, right? Cool. So the next things we need to do is start taking that biofuel, yeah, and putting it into these biogenerators, and these will do 280 RF per tick each. So that's pretty awesome. So I got some export buses here, so we could just go and slap some export buses on these things. I imagine, I haven't tried this yet. We're also going to have to, I guess, can we adjust the sides for the input? It looks like the output is here. I assume we can input from any side. We have redstone control. It doesn't look like there is an input. I haven't tried this yet. I probably should have. Let's try getting... We need some crafting cards. Let's try a hopper real quick. Because, oh, we don't have a hopper. Can we do a chest? We don't have a chest. We can have one of these chests. That's not going to help us because we want to make a hopper, right? Well, I guess we'll just try this with applied energistics. Let's just grab some cable. Let's make, I don't know, 20 of those. We should have enough of everything to do that. Cool. All right, so we got some cable now. We have the crafting cards. We have the export bus. Let's just see if we can hook up one of these things to start making power. Okay, so we want biofuel. Dang it, I don't have that on me. So what we can do is type in biofuel here, click, drag, and stick that right there. Yeah, all right, so that is just a ghost item. Like, you can click and drag these. You can't place these in your inventory. Certain mods, like Applied Energistics, allows you to use this to your advantage to fill out patterns and such, which is awesome. Okay, so we have the biofuel here. All we gotta do is connect this over with the cable. And hopefully we'll start exporting from the system. It looks like that's working because things are happening, right? Now this is exporting slowly. Oh, I guess it's going into this inventory here, huh? Is that how that works? It like fills up this inventory full of the biofuel? Yeah, it must be because it's filling this number up. And then does like a stack appear here afterwards? I don't know. I don't know how these things work. Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to click that with this. So we need to right click on this guy and do put a crafting card here because we do have a little bit of biofuel in the system, but that's only going to last for so long. And then when it's done with all the stuff in the system, we want it to request, we want it to craft, and that'll kick this machine on, and this will start crafting. So what we can do from here, I don't have the power cables on me. I need to get the wireless terminal hooked up. We can just attach these power cables, or I guess we can attach power cables from this over to here to keep this thing powered all the time and remove this P2P tunnel. So we can also connect this one and this one. Let's put a crafting card here. I need one more crafting card. Let's see if we can grab that real quick. And I'll also grab some of the basic cables here. What are these? The basic universal. Yeah, that's 320 EU per tick. That's not that much. We should look at upgrading those. I thought we had ones that did a little bit more power than that. Okay, I'll look at getting better cables than that. Okay, so we have some basic cable, and then we're also going to need a crafting card. Let's make one more of those. Yeah, eventually we'll get all of those reactors hooked up. We might even do the other thing where we're turning that fuel into like the gas or whatever. That looks so weird. Like you can almost see, you can see through the machine now to the floor below. So, oh, we never set the patterns for this. Right, so we can do this. And then we can do this. We need a crafting card here. Oh, I needed a crafting card. No, we have crafting cards for all of those now. Okay, so these are all filling up full of the biofuel. Looks like we still haven't gotten to the point where it needs to kick this on. Let's see how much biofuel is in the system. I might pull some out so we force it to craft just to make sure this is all working. Okay, so we got no more in the system, so it should have to start using the crusher. It looks like that crusher just kicked on. Okay, so we're going to want the speed upgrades and the power upgrades for this machine, but we can see that this is in fact making the biofuel. That should be imported into the system through the import bus on the back, and it does another one. So this is kind of slow, but it will speed up over time, and then we can also get, like I said, the power upgrades and the other upgrades for this, and it'll go a little bit faster. So we put biofuel here. That does a thing. Yeah, it looks like it does fill this up eventually, so there's a little bit of biofuel left there. So that's kind of cool to know. All right, so we got some more work to do here, but I'm very happy with the progress that we've made today. Yeah, we finally got Autocrafting hooked up. We've cleaned up a lot of this stuff. I'm going to have to make the better cables. These only do 320 EU per tick. Why does it say EU? RF, EU, and joules. I don't know why it's saying EU on there. Yeah, because I thought these cables did like 1,000, and I was kind of concerned there for a second. Let's get rid of this thing. All right, so that machine doesn't have power anymore. We'll power it directly off of this. I guess something like that. So the generators are keeping the crusher going. The crusher is providing the biofuel for the generators. Our farms are currently growing everything. The pumpkins. Yeah, the pumpkins, the fire, the earth, the creeper. Yep. We also need one more pattern here, and I haven't done that yet, but we're gonna need one more pattern to turn the gunpowder. Or actually, do we need to do that? No, I don't think we need to. Yeah, we need the processing pattern here that we can turn gunpowder into the saltpeter. So let's go ahead and make that one final pattern, and then everything should be fine. The farm should just go indefinitely from this point forward in its current state, and then we can start looking at making all the compost and getting the other farms hooked up, because that's going to be pretty awesome. So the final pattern we need to do, we have one saltpeter here, so actually we need saltpeter here and gunpowder. So one gunpowder turns into one saltpeter. We'll make this pattern. I think we can use the pattern terminal here. Yeah, there's our crusher. So we can stick this right here. So whenever we need to make saltpeter, for instance, if I wanted to make 10 saltpeter, it should be able to put the gunpowder into that. It says no crafting CPUs are available. I think it's in the process of doing other things. So we're probably going to have to make more of these crafting coprocessors and all of this stuff. Yeah, you can see it's crafting the biofuel right here. So we're gonna have to make more of those so we can do more things at a time. But yeah, we're making some pretty good progress here, guys. I'm very happy with this. You know, starting regrowth, like you start with absolutely nothing, you're in a barren wasteland, and then we're at the point now where we're all teched up. This is really, really awesome. But anyway, guys, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on this episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.